Recent reports from Suzhou in Anhui Province have revealed a surprising candidate for a grassroots government position. Zhen, a Ph.D. graduate from Stanford University, has been listed for a township-level civil servant role in Lingbi County. After the announcement, online users uncovered Su's impressive academic background, leaving many in shock. Su isn't just an exceptional student, he's a true academic powerhouse. He graduated from physics at the University of Science and Technology of China, receiving the prestigious Guo Scholarship, an award usually given to students who go on to pursue advanced studies at top universities and research institutes worldwide. Before graduating, Su had already secured full scholarships from renowned institutions like Stanford, Caltech, and Columbia. He ultimately chose Stanford, ranked 5th globally by QS, attending with a high-value scholarship. This impressive resume contrasts sharply with his choice to take on a township civil servant role, which has sparked widespread online confusion. This isn't the first time high-profile graduates have opted for low-paying grassroots positions. In April, a civil service hire in Hangzhou's Yuhang district also grabbed headlines. The list included graduates from prestigious universities such as the Central University of Finance and Economics, Fudan University, and Xiamen University, but one name stood out, a woman hired by the Yuhang District Education Bureau, who had graduated from Harvard University, raising further eyebrows. Earlier on, a Yale University graduate became a township civil servant in the outskirts of Zhengzhou, and a Tokyo University master's graduate recently joined a local government office in Anhui. The trend of overseas graduates taking civil service positions has been gaining traction. The number of returnees from top universities applying for civil service roles has surged in recent years. According to statistics, several regions, including Beijing, Shanghai, Chongqing, and Guangdong, have opened special recruitment channels for returning students. Recently, Shanghai's civil service recruitment list showed that international graduates made up a significant portion of their candidates. A survey by Zhaopin.com revealed a growing trend among returning students to pursue civil service roles. The survey found that 74.4% of overseas returnees believe there is a rising demand for government jobs among their peers. This data highlights a shift in employment preferences, confirming that government positions are now a key career goal for many. One comment from a social media user summed up the growing sentiment. Even top overseas graduates are now fighting for low-level government jobs. Many have questioned the value of spending millions on overseas education only to return and compete for low-paying government positions. Has the value of a degree from a prestigious foreign university diminished to this extent? Is the job market really this tough? The numbers support this so-called inflation of overseas degrees. According to China's Ministry of Education, from 1978 to 2019, a total of 4.23 million students returned to China after studying abroad. In 2020 alone, that number reached 777,000, a 34% increase from the previous year. This trend continued into 2022, with more than 1 million students returning. That same year, 10.76 million students graduated in China, intensifying competition for jobs. With over 10 million graduates each year, the question remains, can society provide enough job opportunities for all of them? A 2023 employment report revealed that over 84% of overseas graduates plan to return to China to seek jobs. The report, conducted by the World Youth Summit and Liepin, also showed that LinkedIn's 2024 data corroborates this trend. According to the 2023 China Overseas Returnee Employment Survey, the UK was the top destination for overseas Chinese students, followed by Australia and the US. Returnees cited salary and benefits as their top concerns when job hunting, with 74% listing this as a key priority. Corporate culture came in second, at 37%, with an increase of 9 percentage points compared to 2022. A job preference survey revealed that 30% of returnees aim to obtain professional qualifications, while 23% plan to enter the workforce immediately, and 18% are targeting civil service roles. Despite these goals, more than 90% of returnees feel pressure in the job market. The surge of highly qualified domestic talent has made it harder for overseas graduates to stand out. Many returnees believe their competitive edge has diminished. In terms of salaries, data from Zhaopin.com shows that Shanghai, Beijing, and Shenzhen offer the highest average monthly wages, with Shanghai leading at 13,617 yuan. However, many returnees still feel that domestic salaries don't meet their expectations. According to a survey, 34.5% of returnees believe their salary matches expectations, while 38.5% feel it falls short, and 19% believe it's significantly lower than anticipated. Even if jobs and salaries aren't ideal, returnees still fare better than those who remain unemployed. On Douban, a group called Overseas Returnee Waste Recycling Association has attracted over 54,000 members. The group's description welcomes unemployed or underemployed returnees. Discussions mostly revolve around job search struggles, frustrations with life, and uncertainties about the future. One netizen shared, "My parents spent millions on my education abroad, only for me to return and immediately become unemployed." Others ask, "I graduated from a QS top 50 university but can't find a job. Should I take the civil service exam back home?" Some returnees have ended up in second-tier cities, earning just 5,000 to 6,000 yuan a month. Others have spent a year at home preparing for civil service exams. Some have applied to companies like Luckin Coffee. One story described a foreign university graduate who sent out 100 resumes without landing a single job. Another detailed a couple who had secured U.S. work visas but returned to China, only to both become unemployed. Some, like a master's graduate from the University of Sydney, face skepticism from HR and end up leaving the job after just one day, where they were treated like an intern. In one post, a student wrote, "A year at a UK master's program feels like the biggest turning point of my life. Now I can't find a job." In this 50,000 member group, a shared sentiment is clear. It's not that they want to give up, but no company seems willing to hire them. Even small companies express doubt, wondering if overseas returnees would be willing to work overtime. For those struggling to find work, the benefits of being a civil servant seems out of reach. Estimates show that the average income for civil servants in Zhejiang Province is around 360,400 yuan annually. Entry-level staff earn about 220,000 yuan. Deputy section chiefs about 250,000. Section chiefs around 280,000, and department-level officials more than 360,000 yuan. Additionally, civil service jobs guarantee job security until retirement by 35, with generous pensions. On the other hand, corporate jobs often leave workers vulnerable to layoffs by 35, even for top university graduates, whose final options may be becoming a driver for Didi or a food delivery person. In the past, many young people looked down on civil service jobs, considering them low-paying, monotonous, and lacking in challenge. However, the phrase, "the end of the universe is a government job," a viral saying online, has completely changed this perception. Now, more and more young people are joining the race to land civil service positions. They are driven by the idea of landing safely in a stable job. For many, civil service jobs are now seen as the forever dream, or YYDS, an internet slang meaning forever God. The civil service fever has been on the rise in recent years. Data from the National Civil Service Bureau reveals that 3.03 million people applied for the 2024 National Civil Service exam, up by 430,000 compared to last year. For the 10 most competitive positions, the applicant-to-hire ratio exceeded 1,700 to 1. Many are willing to wait in the turbulent civil service sea, hoping to eventually land. The term landing originally came from Hong Kong in the 20th century. During Hong Kong's economic boom, young people went to sea to make money. By middle age, they achieved financial stability with houses and stocks, and then landed in a stable government job. Ideally, they would enjoy a civil servant salary while collecting rental income from their properties, a comfortable life. Landing was once a symbol of personal triumph and career success. But it has now become the first choice of Chinese graduates leaving university, which is somewhat ironic. The drive among Chinese students to land in a civil service job surpasses any other country. In the US, only 3% of students want to work in government. And in France, known for its big government, the figure is 5.3%. In China, however, it exceeds 15%, with around 50% also aiming for jobs in state-owned enterprises. This means 2/3 of Chinese students are targeting the stability of a government job. Even though private enterprises provide 80% of job opportunities, they are not the first choice for most. Recently, several universities have issued statements urging graduates to broaden their job expectations. These universities encourage students to consider small and medium-sized businesses and grassroots positions instead of focusing solely on civil service exams. However, this advice has largely fallen on deaf ears, with many students believing the opposite. According to a 2024 employment report by Liepin, nearly half, 48%, of this year's graduates prefer jobs in central enterprises, state-owned enterprises, and government units, with public service roles being the most desired. Civil service exams have become the Eden that many young people aspire to reach. The popular saying, "the end of the universe is a government job," may carry some humor, but it also reflects the deep anxiety many young people feel about job prospects and their desire for stability in an uncertain future. In the past, 35 was considered the prime of life. Now, people fear being laid off at 35. After facing the harsh realities of life, many young people now believe that stability is everything. In the post-pandemic era, earning money has become more difficult, and people are less willing to take risks. Their shoulders carry heavy responsibilities, and they can't afford to fail. More and more people are no longer chasing high salaries, but instead seeking stability. This is also what many parents want for their children, a secure job with no financial worries. The harsh job market continues to fuel anxiety, as workers fear being unemployed in a competitive and unstable environment. With the prevalence of grueling work cultures like 996, which means working from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 6 days a week, and the sudden onset of layoffs, public sector jobs with their low risk and stability are seen by many as the ideal choice, offering much-needed security. For the older generation, government jobs are still seen as the gold standard. Compared to small and medium-sized enterprises, government jobs offer stability, a sense of security, social status, and better career development and benefits. Those who lived through the more uncertain times highly value stability, and they want their children to lead respectable and stable lives. In essence, the rush to land a government job reflects a desire for career stability and security in a highly competitive environment. People are lowering their expectations, seeking protection from the uncertainties of the future. However, the road to securing a civil service position is not easy. The competition is fierce, making it increasingly difficult to land. Do you remember the story that we talked about in a previous video, titled, "A Girl from Out of Town Died in My Rented Apartment"? The tragic case of the girl who starved to death while living in a rented apartment was a failed civil service candidate. She was a struggler, desperately trying to land a stable job. In China, the extremely high demand for civil service positions has led to incredibly low success rates. In 2023, 2.5 million people applied for just 37,000 national civil service positions. When combined with the 200,000 local government posts, the competition is fierce, with an estimated 10 million candidates, nearly equal to the number of graduates that year. The competition ratio for national civil service exams has exceeded 100-1, with some regions seeing even more intense competition. In some cases, competition for civil service positions is staggering. For example, in 2023, the funeral home in Hebei City, Henan Province, had 1,508 applicants for one position, second only to the 1,560-1 ratio for a logistics role at the Zhengzhou Procuratoriate. In Guangdong, the province's exams saw 570,000 applicants, 100,000 more than the previous year. The most competitive role was at the Shenzhen Industrial Exhibition Hall, with an applicant ratio of 1,815-1. Landing a government job is not a guaranteed path to happiness, but rather a narrow escape. Statistics from 2020 show that 50% of new graduates lose their first job within a year, and by the second year, the attrition rate rises to 75%. It seems that only government jobs offer long-term stability. In 2023, the average salary for employees at non-private urban offices was 120,698 yuan, compared to 68,340 yuan at private firms, a 1.7 times difference. It's hard to deny the appeal of a secure government job. Even graduates from top global universities are joining the race to secure a golden rice bowl in China. Is this a sign from degree devaluation or a tougher job market? The debate rages on social media, with some asking the tough question: is the final destination for Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford, and MIT graduates also a civil service job? Given the current economic situation, spending millions on an overseas education is becoming a losing deal for many families. Graduating with no solid job prospects has left many questioning whether studying abroad is still worth it. Bloomberg recently reported that tuition fees for the next academic year at Ivy League schools in the US will exceed 90,000 yuan. For example, the cost of attending the University of Pennsylvania has already surpassed the median U.S. household income, with annual tuition, fees, and housing expected to reach $92,288. Attending Cornell University will be over $92,000, while Dartmouth College and Brown University will each charge more than $91,000. Over 4 years, this totals nearly 2.6 million yuan. Even at Shanghai's median monthly salary of 11,000 yuan, it would take a student 20 years of non-stop work just to cover their overseas education costs. It's no wonder some netizens are saying that studying abroad is no longer an investment in education, but a form of educational consumption. A UK graduate who repeatedly failed the civil service exam urged students still overseas to mentally prepare for the challenges ahead. He advised young people considering studying abroad to think carefully before making the decision, as the pressures of the job market back home pale in comparison to difficulties faced during overseas study. Indeed, how many can truly land a stable job in this fierce race for government positions?